We are here in this panel and just wanted to pick their brains on the AI, on-chain AI agents that are actually the talk of the town right now. So, Mark, what's the most thing that you're actually excited about on-chain AI agents?
I think what I find so exciting about AI agents is that it's an application layer. It involves retail, right? I think that we've spent a lot of time this cycle focused on AI, but focused on AI infrastructure, right? And I think actually, if you look at the way that crypto cycles tend to go, we tend to over optimize for infrastructure. We love building things that people don't use, right? And that's kind of a cycle that's persisted across kind of all of the last kind of bull runs. And I think this cycle we focus a lot on building infrastructure for AI. I think Zero G and Aethir, we benefited from this. We were a little bit early, so we were kind of part of the initial cohort that built kind of big AI focused infrastructure. But now, what's exciting is that the retail focused element of AI is here. It's arriving in a way that I think is getting retail so excited, and it gets me excited because finally it's something tangible. Right? Infrastructure is cool, but you often can't engage with it or touch it. You're kind of just waiting for it to pop off. But agents are something that we can play with. They're interesting. They're exciting. They're more marketable, and I love that.
Yes, interestingly. Yeah, Josh, like, what are the things that you're excited about on-chain AI agents and challenges?
Yeah, so I mean, we're really excited with AI agents and the AI agent networks and the meme coins that are associated with them. We're really bullish on a few of them, which we're partnering with actively. I think what is really fascinating to us is how Web 2 has their own version of AI and Web 3 has its own version of AI. And what is happening is the community is demanding the direction in which AI is going in the Web 3, right? So with AI agents and AI agent meme coins, for example, the community was sick of this whole, low float, high FTV and this whole VC narrative, and they took it into their own control. And they were like, let's do something where we can get in at the ground level. We can build technology, which are these agents, and we can customize it to our personalities, customize it for our use cases that we want to do, whether it's trading, whether it's training, model training as well. Whatever the agents they want to do. There's now some that create music and create images, and it's so cool, right? And so what's happening is the community is taking ownership of this technology and they're monetizing it on their own. They're not looking for permission from a higher up, which is kind of what happens in Web 2. And they're doing it on their own. And what we love to do is support these communities and taking these initiatives where you take the power into your own hands. That's what Bitcoin did fundamentally. And that's what AI agents and this whole narrative is doing as well. The community is taking power back, and we want to support that.
Yes, very interestingly, right? So, like, as Mark has said, like, the retail activities around AI has like sprung up like anything. And even like George has very well capitalized it, right? Like how those activities are being like people are like making narratives around meme coins and they're like kind of gaining these things. But like the way I see here about this thing, right? So AI is basically a neural network and it's a network of an activations functions, right? That is trained. But what I feel Web3 is a neural network of humans where their activation functions reward is the block reward, like the token reward in itself, right? And like definitely the people would front run an AI model because the way to think about AI model is that it's a simulation of thought, but not an actual thought in itself, right? It can predict the next token in itself. But interestingly, humans can actually collaborate with AI to make a very interesting use case. So all the repetitive tasks will be done by AI and all the creative tasks would be done by people or human in itself, right? And that's a good thing, right? Now we have more humans working on creative side of things on their part of thing.
I think something that's really funny though is that AI is getting really good at being creative too.
Yeah.
Right? There was an interesting study done recently with art experts, right? And they collected a bunch of experts that really didn't like AI art, right? And they were actively against it. They publicly kind of made comments that AI art was rubbish and they hated it, right? And then they did a blind test, right, and asked them to choose which art in a study they liked. And unfortunately, they all chose AI art as their favorite without realizing that it was AI art they were selecting. So what we're seeing is that AI is getting increasingly good at the creative side of things, encroaching on these pieces that we think are kind of traditionally the stalwart of humanity, right? Funnily enough, I think if you just go back a couple of years and you ask an AI agent, if you ask an AI researcher or someone that was interested in AI, and you said, which parts of the world are going to be revolutionized by AI first? I think most of us would have said, something to do with numbers, right? Something kind of data driven, right? That's where we would kind of say, like maybe like accounting or things that we traditionally associate with kind of computing, right? But actually, what happened first was the creative side was innovated,
Yes.
right? The storytelling side, the image generation side, right? It does seem like the creative elements of AI are some of their most powerful or most valuable sort of components. But when you take it to agents, right, that's the execution layer, right? It's not just the ability to kind of produce content. It's like, okay, what are you going to do now that you've got the ability to reason? And I don't think that they're going to get that creative with the execution layer yet. Like you said, I think the first thing they're going to do is the boring jobs, right?
Yes, repetitive.
Definitely the boring jobs. But it's just funny how AI doesn't tend to go in the direction that we maybe necessarily think it will all the time.
What are your thoughts, George?
Yeah, I mean, very much in agreement with what Mark said. I think the way we look at AI agents and AI agent networks going forward in this upcoming cycle, I think it's going to be useful work. And so, yes, the predictions of, if you asked AI researcher, I agree. That's what they would have said. It would work for financing, maybe even medicine, for radiology and imaging diagnosis and things like that. I think that's going to come back in a big way. And so, it's usually hype, fundamentals, utility. And I think utility season is coming. I think it's going to come with huge compute partners like Aethir, which we're big fans of. It's going to happen with infrastructure level, with zero G and zero gravity, with Huddle, where you have DRTCs and real-time communications. Again, that's more utility as well, right? It's not a meme coin. Huddle's not a meme coin, as far as I know. And so I think that wave is coming in 2025, but every wave is led by a speculative bubble first. That's how it's been. It's been with ICOs, it's been with NFTs, it's been with like that for all the things. And then the real utility shows its way in 2025.
Yep, definitely. Like the one way I think about Ether and Zero G network, right? And in terms of AI, like it's basically a decentralized intelligence factory in terms of like, and now you can basically, any developer can like basically deploy their own intelligence, and that intelligence is like by retails is known as AI agents, right? But the one thing that I feel like about AI agents is right, they are like they have this thing of all the human intelligence and all of those things, but they are kind of off with real world, right? If you put the AI agents in real world, it has to be topped up with some skills, right? So that was, I think, the robotic companies like Boston Dynamics and other people are trying to do, right? Now, previously they were like having this physical confrontation. Now they're like using transformer model and put it into this thing and connecting into a database or maybe a network like that. So that's one interesting things going on. But yet, apart from that, like if I ask you, right, how do you see AI in next 2 or 3 years?
I think it's so hard to even predict the next 6 months in AI, right? I think the rate of change is exponential, and the surface area for change is so large, right? It effectively encapsulates almost everything that we kind of do as people, right? AI will have a role there somewhere. So I think just some broad trends that I think are probably true, right? I think we're going to see a trend towards smaller, more specific language models as opposed to just hyper capable, very generalized large language models. I think that fragmentation of large language models into their smaller, more specialized counterparts is going to increase accuracy in very specific use cases that hopefully will unlock the ability for agents to go and do kind of really useful stuff, really useful work. I think the hands and the feet of AI as agents and robotics, I think are areas they'll definitely pump. I think people are very interested in AI living outside of the box that we have for kind of ChatGPT, right? And there's going to be a lot of really cool projects building in super exciting ways that we're just not able to anticipate that are going to, just blow our socks off. I think it's going to be really, really interesting.
And very much aligned on that. I also think one more additional aspect that's going to happen in the coming years is the whole creation of agents and the creation of AI models and offering your training is like initial training offerings, for example. I think that's going to happen. It's kind of what happened after ICOs. There was like these launch pads and things where you could kind of, sell products more easily to the market. I think that's going to happen as well. And so we're seeing that with several projects like Virtuals and CreatorBid. They're building projects or building marketplaces where you can actually sell agents, but also create agents, right? So selling and creating both are going to happen in a large scale. And I think few of the dominant ones will maintain going forward. Yeah.
Yes. Interestingly, so we are like going on the end, and I think we had a lot of interesting thoughts around from the leaders in the Web3 AI space, how everything the things is evolving. And as like Mark has said, no one has a headlight to see where the AI would be going for the next 6 months because the surface area and all of those things. And as George has said, like the what all trends that are going on in AI right now on this. With this thing, we'll wrap up this panel. And I'm so glad to have you guys here, chat with you in FILBangalore. And do follow Aethir and Zero Z. These guys are the industry leaders in node sales and AI.